Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Attention all husbands. Never laugh at your wife's choices, because you are one of them. Morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America on this Monday, October 1. Have a good day. Call in. And a good morning to you. Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Zeb Bell, and welcome to the program for another week. Brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations celebrating a great big fall tire sale right now. You stop in and see them today, along with some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Well, good morning, sir.
Are you the man?
Yes, I thought I'd do the pledge this morning.
All right, please.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Wheels, thank you very much. And right now, we're sounding a little tinny. How are we coming through over there at the radio station, okay?
Yeah, you're sounding great.
All right. Thanks, Wheels. Weather forecast coming up now. K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn on the Burley-Paul Highway. Hello, Roger and the crew. They get there early in the morning, starting things off at 7 o'clock. Hey, you know what? If you need to be doing some digging, they've got all the excavators. And if you need to till up those gardens for the fall, they've got all the tillers. They've got all the tools and equipment for both long and short term. You get a hold of them today. Easy to find. Right there on the Burley-Paul Highway. K&R Rental, the number to call, 678-3122. Right now, here's the weather.
Here's a look at our weather for this very first day of October, and honestly, not too bad for today, but as we make our way through the week, maybe some precipitation in the forecast. We are expecting mostly sunny skies for today, high of 76. Tonight, clouds going to roll in with a low 47. Tomorrow, we do have a 20% chance of isolated showers in the forecast, mostly cloudy skies, expecting a high of 73. 30% chance of showers for tomorrow night, mostly cloudy with a low 48. By Wednesday, that's going to carry over. 30% chance of showers are in the forecast, mostly in the afternoon. We are expecting partly sunny skies for Wednesday with a high of 68. 40% chance of showers for Wednesday night, mostly cloudy skies with a low 45. And then by Thursday, 50% chance of showers in the forecast. Thunderstorms are possible as well, mostly cloudy skies with a high of 63. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Oh, thank you very much, Gina. And the weather brought to you to start things off this morning by K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. As I said, easy to find, right there on the Burley-Paul Highway. Number to call, Roger and the crew, 678-3122. Don't forget, too, our friends at Daryl's Cleaners. Hello, Daryl's Cleaners. My goodness sakes. They are so good at what they do. We've been taken our clothes in there for years and years and years. And when it comes to dry cleaning, they are absolutely excellent. And, you know, for those of you that are really under some time constraints and you don't have time to do your own washing, well, they will wash, dry, fold, and iron all your clothes right there at Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Stop in, see them today. Really, really nice people. Daryl's Cleaners in Burley. We have this morning, I think, one of the best programs with some of the greatest guests on the show that I've had in a long time. I want to go through the list a little bit if I can. Let's see. First and foremost at 9:06, of course, we talked to, back in D.C., Richard Manning. And then at 9:30, we're going to be talking about our votes, whether they count, and the possible destruction of the Electoral College. Karen Lugo is going to be on the program this morning at 9:30. Then we're going to be talking about the absolute destruction of a good man, a family, and the left doesn't care. And that's going to be with Dr. Paul Nathanson. But then at 10:30, this is the one that I'm really excited about having on the air. We have a gentleman that is going to be calling in, hopefully. His name is IQ Al-Rosali, and he's a Muslim gentleman that has written a book called Lifting the Veil, The True Faces of Muhammad and Islam. And here's the thing, we can't call him because nobody has any knowledge of where he is. And through a person that works as, let's just say, a man helping him promote the book, they are the only ones that know where this man is. I understand he's had death threats and a fatwa against him, which is a Muslim death threat, and he's going to be coming on our program at 10:30 this morning. So it should be a really interesting morning. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Ramsey Heating and Electric. Hello, Ramsey's. All your heating and electric and cooling needs right there at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Number to call. They'll have your order waiting for you on the counter. You zip in, zip out, you're done. That's it. Easy. 678-0459. They're open 7:30 in the morning till 5 Monday through Friday, and it is true. Over 6 decades of serving you at Ramsey Heating and Electric on Overland in Burley. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I can't speak for you. I can only speak for myself and my wife, and enough is enough. Absolutely enough is enough. The Democrats, thanks to Republican Jeff Flake, they win again. They win again, another time delay, with another FBI investigation. This will make number 7 into Judge Brett Kavanaugh. This is absolutely ridiculous. These time delays and listening to these fractured and absolutely senseless finger pointings against Brett Kavanaugh, I just have had enough. Now, the odds are, after this next investigation, to which they've put time parameters of maybe a week, the Democrats will stall again, and the Republicans will cave in again. Last week, during the Senate committee meeting, these illustrious, really brave hearts like Cory Booker, and the senator from Hawaii, Hirano, they acted like spoiled children. And along with, the Connecticut, Richard Blumenthal, they walked out of the meeting. And they stood out in the foyer, and they naturally had press there, to which they love standing in front of the cameras. And they stated their case about how this wasn't fair and that wasn't fair. And then the Dems came forth to condemn Kavanaugh again for defending himself. at that Senate hearing. They said that he came on too strong. What are your thoughts about that? I'd like to hear what you have to say. Here's a man that has put himself, his wife, his family, his friends, his job, his stature in the community, everything on the line for that appointment to be on the Supreme Court. And they have come forth and condemned him again. And when he came out and he sat there, and I gotta give him credit. Judge Thomas attacked the Supreme Court hearing years ago, and rightfully so, and he let him know that it was a hanging. And I thought Kavanaugh did a wonderful job of looking at these senators, all of them, whether it was Durbin or whether it was, Booker or Hirano, whomever it was up there, and just looking right at them in condemnation for what they have done to him, his family, and quite frankly, his life. It's only 37 days till the November election, and the Democrats are doing nothing but stalling and hurting this man and his family. What are your thoughts? Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget Denny's Restaurant at 611 North Overland in Burley. Oh, good eating. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, anytime, all the time. Wonderful people serving you with a great big smile on their face. You're going to love it. Thomas and the whole crew over there at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner, 611 North Overland in Burley. And then they have another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. As I said, you're going to love the menu choices. Stop in and see them today. America's Diner, Denny's Restaurant, serving you in Burley. Also, don't forget our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. And if Nick is listening, Nick, you are going to get another call from me today. I got to get everything rescheduled and get over there. And you should, too. I tell you what, they're located at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. And if you've had an injury or recouping from surgery or maybe some high school sport that you really got dinged up in, they can help. They will help. They know all the exercises. They've got the only hydrotherapy pool of its kind in this area to help you get back to being you. The number to call, 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation in Burley. You get a hold of them today. Caller, good morning, and thank you for being on the air.
Good morning, Seb.
Hi there.
Thank you for being on the air. And my blood is boiling. How can we expect any good person to put their name in to be a Supreme Court justice after this?
They can't.
Because we've seen this after all, top 5 of the most recent people. I just think it's like everybody said, it's a witch hunt. Who is going to want to be a Supreme Court justice?
Well, first of all, it's not just a Supreme Court justice. It's almost anybody that wants to serve our nation and serve their country and serve other people with a conservative background, with a R behind their name or an I behind their name. It's going to be an attack. It's going to be, like you used the words, witch hunt. It's going to be an absolute erosion of their personality and what they've done in their life to serve other people. This is just the left plan from Saul Alinsky. This is what they're trying to do, and they're looking for a complete denigration of anybody that's against them, so that they can be in total power forever.
I'm just so ashamed of my countrymen who are part of this, and I think that they need to put themselves in the shoes of this person that they're ruining their life.
Well, I couldn't agree more, but let me ask you a question, Chris. When you have Senator Hirano of Hawaii, a woman that hates men, and she said that all men should shut up and that all men are guilty. Since when did crimes and since when did telling the truth amount to only one gender being able to tell the truth, and that being women, and all men are liars and all men are guilty? Since when did this happen?
Probably about 30 years ago, when there was a whole movement in our country, and it seems to me like we have lost our way. So many people are not worshiping the true God. They're worshiping their self-made gods.
I agree.
And that certainly does take us astray from truthfulness.
You know, for those of us that believe in the Bible and the biblical teachings, it's going to get a lot worse, as is prophesied. I understand that. But also, I think we need to speak out in condemnation about what they are doing. They're ruining this country with their sinful lusts and desires to take over power and push us off into a corner, and we're not fighting back.
So let's figure out a way to do that, because we've got to. And the worst thing is getting out in the streets and starting, a lot of trouble. Is it just smother Washington, D.C. with letters of protest or whatever?
I think it's speaking out, and I think it's never being ashamed of what you stand for or what you represent. And I think if somebody comes up to you in the grocery store and condemns you because you're a conservative, I think you should look them right in the eye, and you should have a good, strong answer as to why you stand for the things you do, why you represent the things that you represent, and tell them. And if it develops into anything more, that's their problem, not yours. You've got to stand up, all of us do, and tell these people on the left that we're not going to appreciate at all being stepped on.
Oh, and this is really a critical time, because I think this could certainly be a change year in our national politics.
Oh, absolutely.
We've got to stand firm.
Absolutely. I could not agree with you more. Chris, God bless you and your family, and I always thank you for your calls. Thank you so much.
And thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
I'm concerned like she is. And I have a question that I thought about all day on Saturday. And I'm going to ask you the same question in just a moment. It really dawned on me, and I don't think anybody else has asked this question in the network media. And we'll throw it at you in just a moment. Don't forget Stokes Equipment Company, your John Deere dealer, at 119 Overland and Burley. I mean, we have Vic on the program every Tuesday at 9:46 talking about Stokes Equipment Company and all their great John Deere machinery and their products, etc. And it's called the Stokes Equipment Ag Minutes. It's on at 9:46 on Tuesday. Stokes Equipment Company, your John Deere dealer. It's true. They make your life easier. Here's my question, and it's so simple, but I've got to ask this. Brett Kavanaugh has been investigated 6 times by the FBI. 6 times. Now, the FBI prides itself on complete investigations and getting all underline that word, all the answers to their questions. Now, if they've done 6 investigatory question and answer periods to find out about the background of Brett Kavanaugh, why is a 7th investigation necessary now? Is it, according to the Democrats, that maybe the FBI did a slovenly job on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 others? What is going to make this investigation any more knowledgeable or transparent that there was a problem with Brett Kavanaugh. Why? I just don't understand Jeff Flake, and that's a good name for him. Jeff Flake of Arizona. Why would he capitulate and say, okay, yeah, we'll have another FBI investigation? Do you mean to tell me that the Federal Bureau of Investigation did not do a very good job 6 times in their finding out about the personality and the past of Brett Kavanaugh? And so now, after the testimony pool has been tainted by all this absolute silly, stupid rhetoric, now all of a sudden they're going to find out in number 7 investigation the truth? Oh, please. Caller, give me your thoughts. Go ahead.
It's all a strategy to delay.
Absolutely. Doug, I'm so glad you called when you did because, and Wheels, there's a little feedback there, please. Do you mean to tell me, Doug, and I'm sure you've thought about this, you're a sharp guy, 6 investigations, 6! And nothing was found, and now number 7 all of a sudden is going to sprout growth and get big like an oak tree?
Nope, it isn't. They're going to come back with what they found on the past 6. They'll have the statement from the witnesses, as they did in the Judiciary Committee when they was questioning Mr. Kavanaugh, and they're going to have the same statements unless somebody flips, and if they flip, then which one, they're lying one or the other, so they can be held accountable.
Okay, now right there, stop, because you bring up an excellent point. If a person that was interviewed previously by the FBI, using your terminology, flips, then they have committed perjury. Then they are up on a felonious charge right there because they lied previously.
Exactly. So they're going to say the same statement they did before. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this one out. But all they're going to do is delay, and I'm be willing to bet $1 to a donut that there's going to be more charges come out this week.
Oh, there's going to be a bunch of kooks and crackpots and wannabes and never-wills and everything else. But the point I'm getting at, 6 times, Doug? I mean, come on, one time. An investigation one time should be very thorough to find out about Zeb Bell, Doug Martin, whomever. But 6 times and nothing was ever uncovered? You gotta be kidding me.
Right. So, okay, they've done it 6 times. So the 6th time, they went back. So his history's been covered up to that 6th time. So the 7th investigation should only encompass from the 6th investigation to the 7th investigation. It's that time frame. That's all it should encompass.
You know as well as I do, and the people out there, if they're honest with themselves and their neighbors and their community, this is nothing more than Democratic BS. That's what it is. It's a stall tactic, and I'll guarantee you, I'll go back to what I said a little bit ago, caller number 2, I'll be right with you in a minute, that after this investigation is complete and they give the results to the parties that be on the Senate committee, the Democrats are going to cry foul and say, nope, it's tainted, we got to have another investigation.
Or they're planning another strategy right now.
Yep.
Because when they get slapped down on this one, they need to go back and listen to their Uncle Joe Biden.
Joe needs to go back and listen to Joe Biden.
Review that tape of him, I think it was the Clarence Thomas investigation, where he
Yes.
The FBI does not come with conclusions, period.
They come up with the investigation materials, and they lay out the case as to what they have found out for this and that. Then it is up to the committee to make the assertions as to what's going to happen.
Okay, my question to you is, if they're going to do an FBI investigation, are they going to investigate how this was held, how this was made public against her wishes, how she was not notified that they would come to California in a private setting and take her statement?
Absolutely.
I mean, if they're going to investigate this, they need to investigate that also, because were they done that against, not telling her that they'd come to California, then somebody needs to answer to the Bar Association why their client did not get all this information.
I couldn't agree more. And what is all the music over there?
Oh, Sweet Home Alabama.
No, you're being called. Doug, I'll talk to you later. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
God bless. Everybody, let's do what we can for our seniors.
Amen. Thank you. Caller number 2, I'm going to take your call quickly, and then I'm going to give away some cookies. So real fast, go ahead, please. Sorry to keep you waiting.
Good morning. This is the Yummy Man with the senior menu.
Okay.
Today we're having enchiladas, baked beans, green salad, and yummy dessert. And if anybody would like to volunteer to help put up the meals to go for those that have to have them, they need some help.
Joe, I tell you what, you kind of glossed over what the yummy dessert is for today, so I'm sure that you have something that you could tell us.
I really, she doesn't know yet, but she said it would be good.
All right, Joe, we'll send everybody over to the Senior Junction on Overland Avenue. Thank you so much for calling. I appreciate it. The Yummy Man, thank you. Good guy right there. I got to give away some cookies, and I want everybody to try to win this one. This is an easy question this morning, and of course our sponsor is Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert, right on the square. The best of a bakery, the best of a restaurant. Oh yeah, and really nice people. And I urge you to stop in, and believe me, if you're the winner of the cookies, call them and let them know when you'll be over there. It's Sophie's Chatterbox in Rupert, 530 East Street, right on the square. On the old TV Western series, The Big Valley, who was the actress that played the mother, the matriarch? Who was the actress that played the mom? That's an easy one. First person to call, 436-2244 or 1-866-927-4587. You will win a dozen cookies to Sophie's Chatterbox. On the old TV series, The Big Valley, who was the actress that played the mom? Give us a call quickly, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587, and you'll be the winner of the dozen cookies. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Barbara Stanwyck.
And who is this?
Tammy Estes.
Tammy Estes?
Estes.
Yeah, I said Estes, right? E-S-T-E-S?
Yep.
Okay. Tammy, all you have to do is just call over there and tell them when you'll be there to pick up your cookies. You're the winner, and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for calling in. I appreciate it.
You bet. Have a great morning.
You too, Tammy. Thank you. Tammy Estes is the winner. It was Barbara Stanwyck, and she came from a movie career into a TV series. A lot of times it's vice versa, like Steve McQueen had the TV series first and then really jumped into a huge movie career, like also Tom Selleck did. But anyway, Barbara Stanwyck is the winner. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. I think all of us, I know my wife and I, are completely fed up with the hypocrisy and the total destruction of Brett Kavanaugh's family in his life. You know, I really don't know if he can ever regather himself after these frivolous charges are thrown into a hole and buried forever. It's going to be really tough. But there's only 37 days till the November election. And I mean this when I say this. I certainly hope you and everyone will go to the polls and vote accordingly. And when I say accordingly, it's definitely against the Democrats, their filthy and frivolous policies, and their attitude. Please We've got to keep some sanity in this United States. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Please give me a call. I would love to hear from you. By the way, and this might offend... I always offend somebody. I guess I'm going to offend some of the ladies out in the audience today that are big fans of people like Elizabeth Warren and Kirsten Gillibrand and Nancy Pelosi and Ms. Hirano of Hawaii and Feinstein and Paulette Jordan and Deborah Silver on a local basis, state basis, etc. But there seems to be that they're all cut from the same cloth of feminist power and hatred of men in leadership. The Paulette Jordan campaign for governor is one that I have to kind of laugh at, but it's not funny. And I think that she's absolutely going to go down in defeat, and I hope that's true, with a very small percentage of the vote. Her campaign seems to be falling apart at the seams, unraveling like a cheap suit. And she comes out with statements that absolutely are offensive as far as I am concerned. I'd like to know what your thoughts are. She said, I think all women will be attacked. And she was talking about if Judge Brett Kavanaugh is confirmed to the United States Supreme Court. Those are highly inflammatory remarks. I think all women will be attacked. Wow. If Brett Kavanaugh is appointed to the Supreme Court. And she says, I'm thinking once I'm governor, I'm going to really have to up that Constitutional Defense Fund. She said, I'd seen that as a waste of taxpayer resources, but now I think I'm going to use it to defend women, people of color, and other minorities. Gee, maybe I'm wrong, but shouldn't the governor be working for the good of the state and all of its people? I don't like this woman, and I've never met her. I don't like her politics, and I don't think any of her Democratic friends do either, really. And she was at a meeting the other day after she had ridiculed and denigrated a reporter for the Idaho Statesman. And she said there was a Times News reporter at this meeting, and she said, you're going to dampen the party a little bit. The one thing I would think that someone running for political office, be it dog catcher or governor, you wouldn't want to turn on and bite the news media. And that's exactly what Paulette Jordan has done. Right now, let's have some more calls. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Last week, we had my old buddy Juan on the program with Berry Equipment and Rental. And, of course, his office location is at 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. And, of course, the other locations are 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls with Eli and the Nampa location. They've got all the equipment for equipment rentals and equipment sales. Retail equipment sales. I'm telling you what, they have the largest selection right there at Berry Equipment and Rental. Oh, and by the way, if you don't know how to run the equipment, don't worry. Don't get in a tizzy fit. They've got a great big sandbox out behind the business, and they will teach you before you head home with it. That's right, Berry Equipment and Rental in Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa. Don't forget, they can and they will help you. Come on, folks, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'd really like to hear what your thoughts are. This governor race in the state of Idaho, I think, is, I give no credence to Paulette Jordan. I know that I'm being very definitive in my attitude. I'm not being very open-minded because, no, I don't want her to get anywhere close to the governor's chair. And the way her campaign was set up and the way that she is inclined to show favoritism to some, I don't want her as the governor of Idaho. Do you? Call me. I'd like to hear it. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
As far as Paulette Jordanson being our governor, I've only heard her name 3 or 4 times, and that would include this morning, most of it. From what I understand, from what I have heard in the past, it didn't look like she's got a whole lot of positive outcome just by her attitude of, she comes across as a snotty, selfish, stuck-up individual who is acts like they got it's owed to them. Excuse me, that's what I'm trying to think. It's owed to them. It's not. It's not something that she's going to have to earn. It's something that she's owed because for whatever reason, and that's the way she comes across. And I've watched 2 of her ads. Maybe that's not enough, but that's what's coming across to me.
There was an article, and Wheels, again, ride the gain a little bit, buddy. There was an article by Neil Larson in the paper, and I think he really kind of summed up her attitude. And I'll read that to you, Riley, and then I'd like you to respond. A recent official campaign video suggested that she, Paulette Jordan, was sent by God to those who are inclined to support her.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I don't quite believe that. Remember when George W. Bush said that he visited with, prayed to God and visited with God on a regular basis, and people made fun of him? That comes to mind, but I really doubt this lady does.
Well, I have a lot of doubts about the Democratic Party and some of the people that are running on that ticket. Actually, I feel sorry for some of the people running on that ticket with a lack of a platform, a lack of anything that's positive, and then especially trying to follow in the dust of this Paulette Jordan, which is a messed up campaign from the get-go. Riley, appreciate your call always. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Come on, folks, don't be timid. Give me a call. Let me know your thoughts on this. I'd love to hear it. There is a new, I hate to say business, but it's a service also in the Burley and Mini-Cassia area. It's called Mini-Cassia Hearts for Seniors. This is a wonderful idea at 135 East 23rd Drive in Burley. And Holly Rowe, I salute you. If you're a senior and you want to stay at home, absolutely, but you might need a little help, with personal daily tasks like meal preparation or maybe getting dressed and taking showers, light housekeeping, having somebody help you on errands, whatever. Give them a call. Call and get more information. And the number is 312-5715. Of course, you got to hang a 208 on the front of that. Holly Rowe at 208-312-5715. Or go to Holly at heartsforseniors.net. Mini-Cassia Hearts for Seniors in Burley. A really, really nice idea. All right, your turn. I want to hear what your thoughts are. Give me a jingle on the landline, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I think we will have a weather forecast real fast. And the weather brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And they are located right behind the Minidoka Hospital across from the emergency room. And the number, easy to remember, and you should, because if you're having any hearing problems, they are the best at helping you with your hearing health. 312-0957. That number again, 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here's a look at our weather for this very first day of October, and honestly, not too bad for today, but as we make our way through the week, maybe some precipitation in the forecast. We are expecting mostly sunny skies for today, high of 76. Tonight, clouds going to roll in with a low 47. Tomorrow, we do have a 20% chance of isolated showers in the forecast, mostly cloudy skies, expecting a high of 73. 30% chance of showers for tomorrow night, mostly cloudy with a low 48. By Wednesday, that's going to carry over. 30% chance of showers are in the forecast, mostly in the afternoon. We are expecting partly sunny skies for Wednesday with a high of 68. 40% chance of showers for Wednesday night, mostly cloudy skies with a low 45. And then by Thursday, 50% chance of showers in the forecast. Thunderstorms are possible as well, mostly cloudy skies with a high of 63. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
I'll tell you, folks, Dr. Pickup and Dr. Mitchell serving you at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, and you can trust them for your hearing health. Please, please call the number, make an appointment at 312-0957, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Really nice people. All right, your turn. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I got to tell you that, did you hear about that mother back in Missouri? Yeah. Her son came home, he's in high school, and cried the blues to his mother. I didn't make the varsity soccer team. They didn't want me. So Mom sues the school. Come on. Please, note to parents, maybe your kid hasn't got any talent. Maybe he doesn't have or she doesn't have any skills. But sue the school? Ay, ay, ay. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. A long time ago, I was in the Army. And my job, even though it wasn't my personal job, wasn't very important. But what the unit done was, and was required to have a security clearance. And so, they put us in a room and said, "You fill out this form and you write down everything. We want to know if you even sold a candy bar when you was a kid."
Mm-hmm.
Well, I served my time and come home, and I met some of the people that I'd worked with, but I didn't meet any of my school teachers, but they said, "Oh, yeah, the FBI was around here talking about you, asking questions and so forth." And I know they was very thorough. And now they want to have another investigation of Kavanaugh. I think it's a bunch of BS.
Well, let me ask you, and I really appreciate your being candid about what happened in your past on this, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 investigations, and nothing has turned up in negativity against a man and his past, his high school, his college, etc. And now, all of a sudden, in number 7, it's going to be earth-shaking as far as finding out new revelations? You've got to be kidding me.
I believe that. They checked everything that I put down on my paper, and I told them everything because they threatened us pretty thoroughly that if we didn't put everything down, they'd find out, and then I'd be in trouble, or we'd be in trouble.
Absolutely. You know, sir, I thank you for your call. You make more common sense than anything I've heard all weekend long. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye.
God bless. 6 investigations. What do you think they did on those previous 6? Judge Kavanaugh, what do you think of him? Nice guy, bad guy? Okay, thank you. That's it. No! The FBI, for all of the criticisms that you can level at the hierarchy, the gentlemen and ladies that work for the FBI are extremely thorough. They are extremely talented. And they are extremely good at using the resources to find out the facts. And I guess the Democrats must think that we're like Ned in the first grade reader, that we're gullible enough, according to Senator Jeff Flake, that he drives me nuts, that they would capitulate for number 7. Number 7 investigation. Oh, well, the Republicans put time constraints on it. It's just going to last one. Oh, get off the bus. You know as well as I do that you're going to have those kooks and crackpots on that committee, whether it's Durbin or Hirano or whether it's Kamala Harris or whether it's Spartacus Booker, whatever the case might be. They're going to ask and demand for more time delays. It's idiocy. That gentleman that just called, I really appreciate what he said. The thoroughness of a background check, and you better put everything down because if we find out you covered something up, whoa, you're in trouble. Well, you mean to tell me after 6 investigations, the FBI wouldn't have uncovered some of these kooks and crackpots that are coming out of the woodwork? No. Calls welcome 436. This 7th investigation is not needed. I think it's kind of a sham and a slam against the FBI. I do. I think the FBI should look at this and take a very offensive approach to this and say, wait a minute, we've done 6. And we did a thorough job. But nobody's saying anything like that. Calls welcome 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. There is another story that I think demands more investigation. Today we celebrate, and I don't use that word in a party festive manner. Unfortunately, we celebrate the 1-year anniversary of the complete, disgusting mass shooting in Las Vegas. 1 year ago today. And there are so many questions. There are motive questions and no real answers. There's a lot of personality questions about Stephen Paddock and no real answers. But yet, law enforcement and the casinos seem to have put a great big blanket on everything. Case closed. Tomorrow, is it tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow at 10:30 I'm going to be talking to Megan Barth, and she lives down there. And she has been very upset as to the way and the methods that this investigation has been covered or not covered. And we're going to talk to her about that. It just doesn't make any sense to me that they said, case closed, when they don't know all the answers. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. By the way, thank you to our major sponsor of Zebit the Ranch, and that's your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers, with their big fall tire sale going on right now. And many of the tires you need for your cars, your pickups, SUVs, trailers, etc. are on sale. You can't afford to pass this up. Now is the time to get in there and check out all these premium tires for your driving. And don't forget, too, the best in brake service with highly trained brake technicians, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries. Oh, batteries. Now, the weather this week is going to go down in temperature, so make sure that before the cooler and colder weather hits, you've got a good battery. So stop in and check it out today at any one of the 7 locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers: Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Let me see what else. Oh, by the way, for baseball fans, today is a day of absolute maybe playing hooky from work and sticking around the TV set at about 11 o'clock. This has been one of the most exciting baseball seasons ever in the history of the major leagues. Today they've got playoffs for two divisions in the National League. The Cubs and the Brewers are going to have a one-game playoff. I mean, it's going to get nasty. And then the Dodgers and the Rockies are going to be playing later on this afternoon. My Cubs against the Brewers, and that's going to be the first game. And then, of course, it's going to decide who goes in as a wild card and who goes in as the division champion. So a lot of things going on in baseball today. Let's see what else have we got cooking. Coming up next hour, Richard Manning, as I said, we're going to be talking about this FBI investigation. Why? Why do we need another one? And then we're going to be also talking about the new trade deal with Canada, Mexico, and us. And then at 9:30, don't forget Karen Lugo is going to be on the phone talking about how the left has devised a plan to get rid of our electoral college. This is going to be really interesting, so don't miss that. I want to thank you, one and all, for all your kind thoughts and your letters and your notes and your emails and everything else. Thank you for participating in Zeb at the Ranch. We appreciate it. And right now, we're going to get ready to send this back over to my old buddy Wheels over at the main studios. We're going to have CBS News, and then we're going to come back in about 7 minutes with our guests. So you be a part of it. Stay right here. Zeb at the Ranch on KBAR. Oh, here we go. Wheels, you almost caught me. I was talking, and I didn't hear the music. Good morning, everybody. Zeb at the Ranch, and, of course, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with a big fall tire sale going on right now, and including some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, this good word for Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal.
Western Waste Services, they are always at your disposal, and I urge you to get on the route service. We've been on that route service where they come by, pick up your garbage. It's gone, it's out of there, and we've been on that service for a long time. Call them at 734-6969, Western Waste Services, because it's true, they are always at your disposal. 734-6969, Western Waste Services. Also, a quick reminder, too, that Ark Animal Hospital, let's not forget our friends over there that really take care of your pets and your livestock. Dr. Bill, Dr. Jordan, the entire crew, it is a mixed animal practice, meaning large or small. They take care of them all because they're very concerned about your livestock and animals' health. So please remember the number, 678-1177. Ark Animal Hospital, located at 750 21st Street, right there near Connection Credit Union in Heyburn. Wonderful people serving you and your animals. Ark Animal Hospital, where they have the warm hearts for the cold noses. It's Monday, and a very important day to get somebody on the air that knows what's going on. He doesn't pull any punches. He tells it like it is. Good morning to the man that is the president of Americans for Limited Government, Richard Manning. Sir, how are you?
I'm doing well, Zeb. How are you?
Okay, in a word, frustrated. I got to be honest with you, Richard. I've been following politics most all of my adult life. I have never seen anything that right now resembles a sleazy grade C movie like what's going on with the Democrats in the Kavanaugh hearing. This is absolutely ridiculous. What's your thought?
Oh, I agree. It's a, they keep moving the goalposts, and They wanted a FBI investigation. Now they want an open-ended FBI investigation. They wanted to talk about whether there was sexual misconduct. Now they want to talk about, did he drink too much in college? And did he lie to Congress by saying he admitting that he drank in high school and college, but not admitting that he drunk too much in high school and college? It was the bottom line is, this resembles the Mueller investigation in some ways. You can never satisfy people who are determined to find you guilty of something, and that's why this FBI 7th background check needs to be short. It needs to be closed-ended, and the President of the United States has done that. And it needs to be around the facts of what's occurred, and quite honestly, it should also, in a cursory way, take a look at how the allegations came before Congress in the first place, without extending the investigation at all. It ought to take a look at, were these allegations credible from the beginning, or were they a political hit job? But the bottom line is, this FBI investigation needs to it's happening, it needs to get done with, and they need to vote. The nation doesn't need this rolling around for the next 3 months. They need to have a vote right now, and let the chips fall where they may. It is I'll tell you this, the Republicans were right in handling the cross-examination of Christine Ford the way they did, from a standpoint of trying to treat her with kid gloves, so Jeff Flake, Murkowski, and Collins wouldn't get offended by the process of her being treated roughly. But the downside of doing that is that a lot of people came out of that with, she's credible, because the Republicans were nice to her and didn't actually question or challenge her credibility at any point. And as a result of that failure to challenge her credibility, there's now a kind of a general sense that, she did such a good job in her testimony and she's credible. And they left Kavanaugh up to having to defend himself. And so when Kavanaugh defended himself, now the Democrats are saying, he was mean-spirited, he didn't have judicial temperament, and it is all craziness. And the bottom line is, if the Archangel Michael was sitting before the Senate Democrats, they would find some reason. His temper they would say, your temper makes it so you shouldn't be a judge. And there's nobody who can meet the standard the Democrats are setting, and the Republicans need to just stop playing games and get this confirmation done.
Richard, I want to go back to the opening of our conversation, and I want to ask you this. Wouldn't it be, and isn't it, a slap in the FBI's face to criticize, basically without criticizing openly, their investigatory means by having this 7th investigation? Doesn't it tell the FBI that number 1 was no good, number 2 was no good, all the way up to number 6 was no good, and now number 7 is going to be a revelation from God? This absolutely, to me, if I were a member of the FBI, would be a slap in the face. What are your thoughts?
I think it's valid. It's a valid point. These background checks are pretty exhaustive. They go when they talk to people in high school, in college. And here's what they apparently didn't turn up. What they didn't turn up is anything that is being alleged by this accuser.
Yep.
So in some respects, they are, in fact, by saying, this one accuser who nobody around her agrees that this occurred, somehow has turned something up that the FBI and their exhaustive searches, and these background checks are exhaustive. I mean, they go and they literally talk to every former employer you ever had. They talk to former neighbors. They talk to everybody and anybody who might have ever had any contact with you. And so it's not shall we say, just a cursory calling your last employer and saying, "Will they say anything bad about you?" kind of thing. This is serious business, and they take it seriously. So yes, this dredging up a high school thing and saying, well, they need to go back and reinvestigate his high school time in high school is in fact a slap in the face.
I thought that what Senator Flake did and what he's doing was just nothing more than changing the R behind his name to a D behind his name. He's very close friends with Chris Coons, Democrat, and they're good buddies outside of the Senate walls. And I just thought it was capitulation when these protesters caught Flake in the elevator and, quite frankly, okay, I'll call for another investigation. I think this is nothing more than absolute sleaze and tearing apart a good man, a good family, and a good resume and trashing it. That's what I see.
I'm not going to disagree with you. First of all, I think you're being too kind to the protesters, the Soros-funded protesters,
yes,
who, quote-unquote, caught Kavanaugh in the elevator. The fact is, the cameras... It is almost guaranteed that the cameras pushed them forward. The CNN people who happened to be on the scene pushed those people forward to create the confrontation with Flake. And in some respect, it shows the naivety that still remains on the Republican side. If you have people who are your weaker parts of your coalition, you don't let them wander around behind the herd. You keep one of your stronger people near them. Let me walk. They should have had somebody from the Judiciary Committee walk with Jeff Flake over to the hearing, and that way he wasn't sitting there. He wasn't alone with a junior staffer to try to fend off CNN and the like. But they didn't. The fact is, the Democrats play for keeps, and the Republicans, in some respect, thinks that it's business as usual. And I think they've been caught a little bit, at least initially, a little bit off guard by that fact, and they haven't adapted to the new confrontational style that the Democrats are choosing. And until they start adapting and being smarter, this is what you can expect.
There's only one Republican, and I mean this when I say this, that I have any respect for this morning through these hearings, and he's a man that I never really thought too much about or cared enough about to say anything good about him, and that's Lindsey Graham. He's the only one that showed the John Wayne attitude to slam his fist on the desk and tell the Democrats exactly where the goat ate the cabbage.
I haven't heard that saying before. It's a great saying. He did. He came out strong, and he did, in fact, and he's paying a price. The number of the Hollywood elites are attacking him right now. People who he has had a relationship with in the past are attacking him and attempting to allege certain things about him that aren't that he may or may not want public. And so there's a hardcore attack on Lindsey Graham as a result, and they play dirty. It's absolutely shows the double standard of the left. Because that's one thing I'd like your listeners to think about. It's very simple. It's something your two senators from Idaho could call for, while neither are on judiciary. It seems to me that there is that Keith Ellison, who is the number 2 person in the Democratic Party, and is a sitting member of Congress and a candidate for the Attorney General in Minnesota, that he's sitting there with truly credible charges of assault, of beating his girlfriend, and those credible charges are being waged by a person who is respected in the Democratic Party, and yet nobody's calling for Keith Ellison to resign from his post at the Democratic National Committee. And if allegations that are that unsubstantiated allegations, uncorroborated allegations are such a big problem for the Democrats, then having their number 2 guy at the DNC being a abuser of women with pictures to go with it certainly ought to be. They ought to, if they're believing women, they should start in their own house. And so it seems to me that would be something that the 2 senators from Idaho could, in fact, call for. And secondly, in the Senate, you've had Senator Bob Menendez from New Jersey, who's up for election, has sat on trial for multiple accusations related to misdeeds related to women, and it would seem wise that if the standard is not a burden of proof of innocent until proven guilty, but guilty unless you prove with it beyond a shadow of a doubt that it didn't occur, then Robert Menendez should be put before the Senate Ethics Committee and removed from office. And that's something which anybody in the Senate can urge, because quite honestly, if they're going to move the bar of what makes somebody eligible, then they have to eat the consequences of that.
Yep.
And unless they start eating consequences for what they're doing, they will continue to do it. So that's something which both senators from Idaho, while they should stand firm with Kavanaugh, they could do that would point out the double standard and start forcing the Democrats to live up to the standards that they're trying to set for Kavanaugh.
Let me ask you something, and you're closer to it than I'll ever be back there in D.C. area, etc.
Sadly.
But okay, I can agree with that. But do you see, like I see, the Good Old Boys Network, where both sides of the aisle get together at 5 o'clock, go out and have a beer and a burger and sit there and slap each other on the back? I guess the way I was raised and the way I think, that if you're going to be committed to what you think is right, you stick with it, and if the other side doesn't agree with you, quite frankly, Richard, they become my enemy. I want to promote for my constituents what I think is right for them and this country, instead of this good old boy attitude of where we're going to go out at 5 o'clock and have a beer, and we're going to sit down, and I might capitulate to your side and everything. I don't like the attitude that's going on in the House or the Senate right now.
Well, I'll speak to the Senate because it's right at the top of mind. But the Senate, the way the Senate used to work is everybody agreed, basically everybody agreed that the Senate rules were the most important thing in the world. And getting along and comity and having a decorum was one of the ways that they established a kind of the cooling saucer of democracy, which is what President Washington called the Senate. And it was they've been around together more. They're 6-year terms. They've got more longevity, so they develop personal relationships across the aisle and the like. And that has always been kind of the Senate's more collegial approach. What we're seeing now is the Republicans are still pretending that's real.
Mm-hmm.
And the Democrats are saying, no, we're not doing that. We never have done that. They didn't do it with Robert Bork. They didn't do it with Clarence Thomas. And now we're seeing it again that they're not doing it. So about every 25, 30, we see this on these inflection point issues where somebody significant is going to be put on the court, on the Supreme Court, where they say, we're throwing out everything, all the decorum, all the rules, because we have to win this. And, Zeb, it tells you two things. It tells you, A, how important the court is, and it tells you, B, how much power the court has taken that it shouldn't have.
Right.
And so the Democrats will view the Supreme Court as the court system as their last chance to govern. It is where they've done most of their legislating has been in court decisions, not in legislative decisions, and as a result, they view that as being putting somebody on for life into a court as being the one place where they're willing to do everything possible to win. Now, your point is that you'd like to see the Republicans do that, and truthfully, I think the Republicans need to grow up. They need to understand that they're in a different world, and there isn't common ground. And when in a world where there's no common ground, where you can't get any Democrats to agree publicly that the clown show we saw in the hearings, that the concept that if you levy a charge against somebody, you have to have some corroborating evidence, that those are basic principles. The Democrats have abandoned those, and the Republicans need to figure it out, and if they don't, they're going to lose.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, we're 37 days away from the election in November. And I'll be honest with you, I don't see how the Democrats have any kind of a platform or any kind of a key to unlock the door for success. I said it to you before. They're saying they're going to have a blue wave, and I think they've just got a leaky toilet. I don't see how they can possibly win the House and the Senate. What am I missing here?
Well, the Democrats are banking on the energy. Just take this Kavanaugh thing. You know, all the crazy people who were coming there and getting paid by Soros to get arrested. Well, they're banking on all those crazy people who are like them coming out to vote, and the people who reject that saying, you know, I don't really like the Republicans, I don't really like the Democrats, I'm just going to stay home. And it's who aren't as enthusiastic to vote for the Republicans, they're those people staying home. That's what they're depending on. Most wave elections historically have not been because one side wins over the other side and everybody agrees. Wave elections occur when one side is able to marginally turn out more of their people due to intensity, due to being upset, mad, and the other side is demoralized and stays home. And it's that combination of demoralization versus energy, being energized, that makes a wave election. So the question becomes that very simple. Do the people who are looking at the Kavanaugh hearing and see the craziness that's around it, are they going to be mad enough to come out and vote, even if they're voting for somebody who they might not necessarily like? So, and that's how it kind of works. It's and so it's all intensity, voter intensity. It's about the voters who listen to your show, who sit there and inform and say, you know, the Republicans just messed up the budget terribly. They really disappointed me. They didn't get rid of Obamacare, and they haven't built a wall. And so I'm really disappointed in the Republicans. And are they going to stay home because of that? Mm-hmm. There's lots of reasons to. Or are they going to say, but the other side scares me so badly that because they're crazy, that I'm going to come out and I'm going to vote because I can't afford to have those crazy people in charge. That's that's essentially the choice Republicans have, and it's a very real choice. And by the way, if you don't want to have the Kavanaugh hearing played out in the Senate, same committee, in a gigantic way, you can't afford to have a Democrat House because they'll impeach President Trump, and the Trump impeachment will have nothing to do with anything they've been talking about. This Kavanaugh hearing is the precursor of the Trump impeachment.
Absolutely.
It's the Me Too movement going after Trump, and that's what you're going to see. And all the things that the Republicans have given rhetorically up in the Kavanaugh thing is going to be used against them in a Trump impeachment.
Absolutely. Very well stated. That's why I enjoy having this gentleman on the program, President of Americans for Limited Government, Richard Manning, straight shooter. Thank you, and I'll look forward to next Monday, Richard. God bless.
Absolutely, Zeb.
Thank you.
Hopefully by next Monday we'll be done with this.
I'll bring the broom, you bring the dustpan. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, take care. Oh, my goodness. I really appreciate his insight as to what's going on, and very straightforward. Richard Manning, President of Americans for Limited Government. Thank you very, very much. Oh, my, let's pay some bills. How about our dear, dear friends over at Hanson Mortuary? Hello, Joel Heward, family, and staff at Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. And they always are there to serve you and your family. And, you know, when someone passes away, it's a really hard time on everyone in the entire family. And Hanson Mortuary wants to help, they want to serve, and always serve you with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. All you need to do is really call, and we all should get the information on pre-planning of funerals to alleviate a lot of the stress and worry of our family. That number, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert, and Joel Heward also serving you at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Oh, our dear friends over at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Hello, Jeff and the entire crew. My goodness sakes, with the weather transitioning from summer to fall to maybe getting a heck of a lot chillier, they've got all the needs to make your house more comfortable for you, because they're going to be spending a lot more time in the fall and winter, and they want you to be comfortable and also enjoy the surroundings. They've got all the floor coverings. They've got all the furniture. They've got all the window coverings. They've got great closeout on certain mattresses for a good night's sleep. Please get a hold of them today. Stop in at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. Really, really nice people. I want to remind you, too, about our friends at Let's Ride, and they're located at 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Oh, my goodness sakes, they've got all the fun over there. They've got all the snowmobiles. They've got all the ATVs. They've got all the accessories, and they've got a fantastic service department to keep you running, too. Don't forget, with the cooler temperatures, in the fall, everybody's looking forward to snow up on the mountains, and snowmobiles are right there at Let's Ride. But, before that, in case you don't have a four-wheeler and an ATV, maybe you better get in there and enjoy all the beautiful fall colors up in the hills. Check it out today. They've got a huge showroom with everything in that showroom, let me tell you, at Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, and believe me, it's true, this is where the fun is sold. Right now, we're going to go to the phone line, and I am very, very honored to have this lady who is an attorney who serves as the director of the Center for 10th Amendment Action at the Texas Public Policy Foundation, and currently serves on the Federalist Society, Federalism and Separation of Powers. Let's give a great big good morning to attorney Karen Lugo. Karen, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm very well, and I have consulted or worked with both those organizations, but today I'm speaking in my own capacity and on my experience as a committee member or an advisory committee member to the U.S. Civil Rights Commission. So did that for several years while I was in California.
Well, Karen, I'm honored to have you on the program, and when I read the bio sheet on what you were going to be talking about, it scared me. It really scared me, because it looks to me like there is a definitive plan that's laid out by the left to absolutely take over and destroy my vote and the Electoral College. How wrong am I?
Not wrong. Our country, our system is based on a very fundamental right of one person, one vote. And we fought a war in the early revolutionary days over representation. And as it stands today, there are a total of 435 congressional districts, and that is a fixed number in our country. And yet, in those districts, there are concentrated in many of the sanctuary city and state areas a lot of illegal aliens, as well as temporary residents that are counted in our congressional districts.
What does that mean, Karen, for the listeners in my audience this morning? I mean, what does it do to create a fear? What do they need to know that they should go, oh my goodness, we've got to stop this? What is the main fear?
While it is not legal for these residents, however temporary they are, or here residing illegally for the long term, it's not legal for them to vote. But they still constitute the numbers that formulate those congressional districts. That transfers to, say, after the 2000 census, California picking up 6 additional congressional seats.
Oh.
Those voters are going to be largely liberal, largely looking for programs That helps to control federal funding that goes to districts. Also look at the fact that currently Alabama is suing. They're in court because they fear losing a seat. And for a state the size of Alabama, losing a congressional seat is a very expensive prospect because they don't have the population numbers that a state like California does. So between counting toward the Electoral College and controlling federal funding, these congressional district control of congressional districts is a very, very powerful thing. And as these seats change hands and change control from different parts of the country to a sanctuary state like California, that entirely changes dynamics. So what we are really stressing is that it is important to return the question to the census for 2020 that asks, are you a U.S. citizen?
What is, this is something that has just agitated me. No, I'll be honest with you. It's just really teed me off. Why are we so protective? Why are we being so amenable to letting the non-citizens, the illegal aliens, I'm going to call it like I see it, have so much of a voice and so much power in our society thanks to the Democrats? Isn't it about time somebody put their foot down en masse and said enough is enough? Our voting is for the privilege of our citizens, and nothing should be distracted by the non-citizens or the illegal aliens.
Well, again, we look to Congress. Congress has plenary power or original power or the control of immigration and citizenship. This occurred because in the early days, states were developing different policies on who could settle and who could become an official inhabitant. That's the word that the courts are now kind of trying to understand, and how the courts have said, well, that must mean person, so anybody that's here gets to count. And Alabama's lawsuit is arguing no. In those days, inhabitant had a special meaning as in a person permitted and legally residing, so therefore somebody that was to count as a citizen. So as we look at the fact that congressional power over citizenship is the original source, and Congress should be caring, we need Congress to say that this question is important. Our civil rights laws say that if there's a problem with voting procedures, that it should be investigated in the Justice Department. So it's actually the Justice Department itself that's asking to put this question back on the census for 2020. And, of course, you're now talking about the people who would complain about something like that because, frankly, they probably don't want people to start thinking about the way this power is shifting.
What is the matter with our Congress, Karen, that they don't have any backbone and any spine anymore to represent the constituency of this country that are legal American citizens and legal voters? Why can't they stand up for us instead of bending over backwards to help all those that are foreign entities or illegals?
I think there's something to be said to forgetting or losing touch with our history and what the principles behind the Constitution mean and what the sacrifice that was given should mean to us today, and how courage and principle were so important. And in those days, it was understood that if we didn't have a virtuous people and if we didn't have congressional members that knew how to stand on principle and that also were educated in the foundations of our Constitution, that we would really begin to struggle. And so here we are.
We're talking about the possibility of absolute taking away the Electoral College and this whole country being controlled by various segments, whether it be in Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, or New York. Why can't the general public understand this, and why isn't there a bunch of people picking up pitchforks and cruising down Pennsylvania Avenue demanding something be done?
Well, and why is it such a big deal that we would ask when we are figuring out where congressional districts should reside, how many a state should have, that we should ask who might be here on a student visa, and if you're going to be gone in a year or two, why are we counting temporary people? Why are we counting people that are here in violation of our laws when this does represent a very powerful instrument between the Electoral College and being able then to vote in a congressional representative who will then be beholden in a sense to or reflective of the kinds of values from a district that would not necessarily reflect those that plan to be here long term and came here and were born here to uphold our laws. So just the fact that this question would be asked is to me, it's so straightforward. It is just a matter of fundamental, very reasonable access to information, and also gives our Justice Department the ability to understand if our voting laws are being carried out properly and if people's rights are being protected.
Karen, this issue didn't just all of a sudden creep up on us like a rattlesnake out of the brush. It had to be formulated, it had to be growing, it had to be perpetrated by some sinister people behind the scenes for years to get it where it is today. Who are these people, and what can we do to thwart it?
I think it's more been a slow process of the people who should be paying attention not paying attention. And the citizenship question used to be asked up until 1950. And then it kind of was the sense that, well, we don't have the reason to ask it anymore because there aren't the concerns about who's here and whether or not we have issues with voting laws and the same kinds of urgencies that had caused it to be put on the census in the beginning. But as we've developed, as immigration trends and different state profiles have developed over the last 40, 50 years, it has now become, as you're talking about, a political kind of a divide where we have states really fighting against each other. We have states whose interests and whose sense of federalism is let us be independent and let us develop our own way of doing business and attracting business and knowing that people will vote with their feet and come to us because we're dynamic and we've lowered regulation, et cetera. Then we have those other states where, because of the fact that they may be offering certain refuge and sanctuary and support and benefits, they're attracting an entirely different kind of politics. And so I think it's the people that should have been noticing this develop and arguing against it and understanding what was happening that should have been warning us.
You know, it just absolutely is totally ridiculous to me. Whether I go into the polls to vote and someone says, may I please see your ID, I'm proud to show that ID that I am a bona fide American citizen that is able and qualified to vote in our elections. But yet there's a very sinister movement in this country, not only at the polls, but also to change the structure of the demographics in this country with illegal aliens in their numbers, and I see a total destruction not only of the voting but also our values of our Constitution and everything America stands for, and we're sitting back and just folding our hands and doing nothing.
I'm a huge advocate of doing everything possible to educate everyone within your circle. I have worked on programs to get grandparents to understand how important it is. I just took my more extended family through Boston and did the whole Freedom Trail for a week. We're on our way to D.C. Just the fact that it's so important to educate everyone around just understanding that public school system not only is not doing a good job, but is doing a reverse effect job as far as so emphasizing what has been wrong or what they are presenting as having been wrong in the past for our country and our leaders. But to actually understand why our country was founded, on what it was founded, and who were those heroic people and wise people that gave us the kinds of principles, systems, and structures that we have.
Karen, is it theatrical on my part to say that we're in the 11th hour or the 9th inning or the 4th quarter, whatever term you want to use, that this is something that we shouldn't put off? This is something that we all need to address. This is something we all need to take our boots off and slam on the table and say enough is enough. It's critical right now, or am I being over theatrical on this?
Well, if you read Victor Davis Hanson this morning, a brilliant cultural, historical commentator, he writes on the fact that while it may appear that principled people who understand the history and are conservative are in control in the states and in Washington, indeed, in reality, it appears that it's really the culture that's in control. And he says this is a very dangerous thing for Western civilization, because when controlled by culture, then there is no structure, the brakes are gone. It is a matter of mood and emotion and the kinds of things that we do not want to have driving us as a civilization.
If you were to put this on a 1 to 10 scale, 1 being not too bad, 10 being look out, the end is coming, where are we on this issue as far as our senators and congressmen not addressing it? Nobody seems to be concerned except you and I and a handful of others across the nation. Where are we on that scale?
If one is assessing the breakdown of the systems that are supposed to provide the structure, and we're looking at what transpired over the process of the Kavanaugh hearings and other various issues that we see develop around us, we're approaching that level of 10 where it soon becomes difficult to pull things back and explain to people why those structural, foundational systems must be rebuilt, why we must look back to the constitutional standards that are so important. And eventually already it seems that those arguments all about feelings and emotions win, because nobody stops to ask that question, where is this taking us?
Karen, I want to compliment you on your efforts and all of the things you're doing to make people aware. I'm going to put your name and number on file to get back in touch with you probably in the not-too-distant future so we can discuss this again prior to the November voting. But thank you, and I mean that, for all that you're doing. Thank you so much.
Okay, sounds good. Talk to you soon.
Karen Lugo, and boy, the protection of our votes, the protection of our Constitution, the protection of our Electoral College, the protection of what this country has stood for and stands for at risk, because there are insidious people on the left that want to bring in, let in, and change the voting areas, the voters, the way things are done politically, so that it can absolutely be mass chaos against the United States. Unbelievable. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. The one thing about my program and my audience, and I say my because you folks mean a lot to me, is that you care. And I know a lot of my listeners, they really devote a lot of time and energy to calling back, whether it's to Simpson or Labrador or Crapo or Rish, and saying, oh, wait a minute, what's going on here? And you and I, all of us, need better, more direct answers. A little animosity is going to show right here, and I don't care. I am really upset at some of our, well, for that matter, all of our representatives. I have given a lot of time and effort to get them on the air. Oh, when it's time for re-election for everybody to vote for them, then they're first and foremost calling up and saying, well, can I get on your program? Can I do this? Can I do that? But now we don't hear from them. I haven't had a call from any of them. And I don't feel like I have to be the dog chasing the parked cars. And I'm really upset at all of them for not taking the due diligence to talk to you. You know, it's easy to go to a meeting, whether it's the Lincoln Day banquets or whatever, and go up there and shake their hand, and they give you this, that, and the other. But you know what? They should be talking to you and I all the time. And they're not doing their job. I don't want to hear this balderdash about, oh, I'm so busy, I'm here, I'm at this meeting, I've got to go to this hearing, etc. No, no, no. They should be keeping you informed as to what they're doing as your representative and or senator to let you know what they're doing to support you, their constituents. And they're not doing their job. Let's have a weather forecast right now. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. You know, Leiden Crane has been on our program many, many times, and I'm very impressed with what they do. And they really want to help share with you all the tax rates that have been changed and all the new deductions and, quite frankly, some of the changes of the old deductions that are going to affect you, your family, and your business. Don't forget they offer the very best of tax return preparation, tax planning, business consulting, payroll services, retirement planning, all of this and so much more. 2 offices to serve you, Burley and Rupert. Don't forget Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here's a look at our weather for this very first day of October, and honestly, not too bad for today, but as we make our way through the week, maybe some precipitation in the forecast. We are expecting mostly sunny skies for today, high of 76. Tonight, clouds going to roll in with a low 47. Tomorrow, we do have a 20% chance of isolated showers in the forecast, mostly cloudy skies, expecting a high of 73. 30% chance of showers for tomorrow night, mostly cloudy with a low 48. By Wednesday, that's going to carry over. 30% chance of showers are in the forecast, mostly in the afternoon. We are expecting partly sunny skies for Wednesday with a high of 68. 40% chance of showers for Wednesday night, mostly cloudy skies with a low 45. And then by Thursday, 50% chance of showers in the forecast. Thunderstorms are possible as well, mostly cloudy skies with a high of 63. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
You know, in accordance with what she just said about rain and or moisture, I was doing some research, and what did Deanne find out for me? That I think it was, we have not had a major rainstorm in this area. What's it been since, like in June? June? Holy moly. Anyway, hopefully we will get some of that precipitation. I bit my tongue. Hurts. I know a lot of the guys out there digging spuds and everything, they probably won't like that, but oh man, things are dry out there. Weather brought to you by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. As I said, providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. 2 offices to serve you, Burley and Rupert. Don't forget Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Got time for a couple of calls. Evidently, there are some people out in the audience that don't like it when we criticize our politicians, and they've let me know that. Well, my question is, why are politicians who really are our paid employees, and I want to emphasize that, they are our paid employees, why are they above criticism? Why are they above scrutiny? And why are they above being questioned about what they're doing or not doing? If it were any other business and your employees were not doing something or doing something that they shouldn't be, you'd question and you'd take care of it. Well, the same is true for our politicians. We are very blessed in this state, to have excellent local state representation, excellent congressmen and senators. But when it comes to a national level, and I got to say that the guys and gals that are serving us in our legislature, they have been very open and amenable to giving me information and calling me and coming on the program. I am very, very happy with what they've done. I mean, Senator Kelly Anthon, Fred Wood, Scott Bedke, many, many more. But when it comes to the national level, I am sick and tired of having to pull teeth to try to get somebody on the air to share with you what is going on. You should be as mad about it as I am. Don't forget our friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance. The very best of life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and more with our folks that are really the true professionals, and that's Cameron and Siemens Insurance, located on Highway 24, just going into Rupert, and they're very dedicated and accessible to serving you. So please, all they ask you to do is just call them for an appointment. They'll be more than happy to help. 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. You be sure and get a hold of those good folks today. By the way, I've got one more ad. I kind of got to talking too much and didn't pay attention to the clock. Give me a call. I still have time for one quick call. Don't forget our friends at Dino Septic Service. Oh, they do the job that you and I don't want to do. I don't want to stand out there and pump out a septic tank. No. I don't want to clean out those sewer and sink drain lines. No. I mean, they do everything. You got a backhoe service and septic tanks and drain fields installed and liquid waste removal. But they remind you better get a hold of them now because before the ground freezes. That's right. Dino Septic Service. And they have two telephone numbers. In Rupert, 436-6526 or in Burley, 678-1638. Don't forget fast, fair, friendly service. Dino Septic Service with that big truck that says, smells cargo on the way. Dino Septic Service. Okay, here's what's coming up for the rest of this next hour. We're going to be talking to Dr. Paul Nathanson at 10:06, and he's going to be talking about the destruction of a very good man and family, and that's the Kavanaugh family. And I'm looking forward to having him come on the program to talk about that this morning. And then, as I stated earlier this morning, we have at 10:32 a gentleman by the name of IQ Rosoli, pardon me, I said the last name wrong. And this gentleman has a book called Lifting the Veil, The True Faces of Muhammad and Islam. Now, the interesting thing is we can't call him because we don't know where he is. And he has to stay that way because of death threats issued against him for writing this book. That's coming up at 10:30 this morning, and don't want you to miss this next hour. Going to be really, really interesting. Thank you for all your phone calls and all your questions, and I guess what we'll do right now is send it back over to Wheels at our main studio. CBS News, I'll be back in 7 minutes. Good morning and welcome back. Oh, my goodness sakes, a Monday, October 1st. Kind of interesting, the 1st of October falling on a Monday, and we will progress from there. Good morning, everybody. Zeb at the Ranch, of course, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, serving you with a great big fall tire sale right now. And, of course, some of our great advertisers, like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, serving and helping you get back to being you. Don't forget, on Thursdays, we have a segment on our program called Cassia County School Days, and we really, really go in depth and meet some really nice people, teachers, administrators, etc. with Cassia County, and it's brought to you by A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. They've got all the fall clothing, and they've got all the Cherokee scrubs, and they've got all the baby furniture, the toys, the puzzles, the games. Family store, A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley, and Cassia County School Days on Thursdays at 10:10. I have had this next gentleman on my program quite a few times, and I always appreciate his very straightforward, honest reaction to the questions, etc. And his name is Dr. Paul Nathanson, a gender relations academic professor who has been here before, and he's the author of Spreading Misandry, the Teaching of Contempt for Men in Popular Culture. I can't wait to have him back on this morning. Dr. Paul Nathanson, good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
You know, Dr. Nathanson, I'm just going to be really blunt. I am sickened by what's taken place the last couple of weeks over the Brett Kavanaugh hearings and the testimony given, etc. I have seen before my own eyes a family man and a family completely destroyed. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I agree with you. I live in Canada, so I'm a little bit more removed in a way, but we certainly know about this case, and it is very disturbing, not only because of what it does to an alleged a person who has allegedly committed a crime, but also because of the whole process involves a kind of vigilantism, and it you know, if he is denied the Supreme Court position, it will be open season on any man who runs for any kind of public office, because all it takes, evidently, is an allegation to destroy him. Even if he's innocent, as you say, he and his family could be destroyed. Now, the other side of the coin is that if he the message could go out that allegations are not believed or taken seriously. So that's the other side of the coin. But if I have to choose between the two, I think I would prefer to choose the maintenance of due process, presumption of innocence, and the fundamentals of American law.
But right there,
without that, there is no society.
Absolutely. Dr. Nathanson, that is right there the crux of what I think is the problem, is the due process and the innocence until proven guilty. And the Democrats in our United States, they want to change that. You are being accused, so now you better prove your innocence. That's not how it works, but people today are gullible enough to go along with the Democrats and think that that man, Mr. Kavanaugh, or anyone, now has to prove themselves innocent after an alleged accusation. This is insane.
That's the main problem here. And it's an extremely serious one, because it's not just this case. There are hundreds of cases like this. If you want to go back, you can, earlier forms of the same problem occurred with Clarence Thomas and Anita Hill. And it's certainly, this is a continuation of the Me Too movement, the idea that women should be believed simply because they're women, never mind evidence. So it is a major problem.
But, you know, where are we on this thing? I've never in my life seen so much filth and sleaze and totally unfounded allegations go on national network TV, all of them carrying it. And we're seeing a family, like I said a moment ago, being destroyed. But as a doctor that studies this and knows about this, what about the children in this family? How about those two daughters? This has got to be devastating for them.
Well, I think that for people who are promoting this, I guess you could call it a witch hunt, those people, the children, the wife, they don't matter. They're collateral damage. The idea being that the end justifies the means. So if the end is to make women safer, then the means, which might be just shooting down any man who runs for office, verbally at least, is worth the price. It justifies the end. So I think that it's a complete misunderstanding of the American legal system. And not only the legal system, but frankly, the moral system.
Right. Absolutely right. Dr. Nathanson, what about the anger, and boy, they better not ever put me on the stand like they did Kavanaugh, under the circumstances of having to look those senators in the face, whether it's Durbin or whether it's Feinstein or whomever. I thought that his anger, when he had a chance to rebut what was taken by the testimony of Miss Ford, I thought the anger was justified. They have treated him as he was guilty from the get-go, and now to be criticized for his anger after they've tried to destroy him and his family and his life, why not the anger?
Well, they not only criticized his anger, they also criticized him for crying. And I think there's a real double standard there. I mean, would they have attacked a woman under pressure who cried? I don't think so. It's only a problem if a man cries. So I think that, I think his response was perfectly normal. I think it would have been abnormal and disturbing if he had maintained some kind of Olympian indifference to what was going on.
I think what you told me when you were on this program for the first time a couple of months ago absolutely is ringing true, that there is a distinct movement going on to hate men, denigrate men, and put them asunder. When I listened to the Hawaiian Senator Hirano the other day tell all men they should shut up and that you can't trust men and you can't trust their testimony, wow, that from a United States Senator, that's pretty heavy stuff.
Yes, I didn't hear that, but it does sound characteristic of what's going on at this time. People are no longer afraid to come out and say really hateful things. In fact, there were at least two newspapers, including the Washington Post, that published articles by women who said, well, why shouldn't we hate men? I mean, to think that we've reached this level is really deeply disturbing, because it's all very well to say, well, we should be angry at men, or at least the particular men who are demonstrably opposing us. But hatred is another matter entirely. That's not anger. Hatred is a culturally propagated worldview. And to justify hatred is something that is completely outside the norms of, first Judeo-Christian morality and even secular morality.
But to think, Doctor, and you do this for a living every day, but to think that now we are told by people like Elizabeth Warren and Kristen Gillibrand and others, the Pelosi's and Senator Hirano, etc., that just because of the gender, they are right and truthful, and because males are a different gender, they're all trash and they're all not to be believed. What kind of a sick, perverted society are we coming to?
Well, this is all part of what's known as identity politics. Identity politics rests on the assumption that for every form of suffering, there is a cause in people who want to do harm. In other words, bigotry. So it's not enough to look for the causes of a problem, which could be many. They could be social, political, psychological, economic. The ultimate cause in identity politics is always reduced to evil, the evil of a group who opposes you. Now, whether that's defined racially or by sex or class, it's always about us versus them. We are good, they are evil. So that, to the extent extent that identity politics is pervasive, and it is, then that's the underlying worldview that we need to challenge.
Dr. Nathanson, as I listen to you talk about this, challenging the left and all of these accusations, etc., why? Why would anybody of a sound mind and a good family want to ever run for public office knowing that the left is going to try to crucify each and every one of them?
Well, they won't. They won't. People who might do a lot of good for the country simply will not do that. If Roosevelt or Lincoln or any of those guys had been alive today, they would not run. And we'd have to do with people of less ability. We'd have to do without Roosevelt.
This whole thing leads me to ask you, and we've talked about this on previous programs, the demise of men in our culture, men being men, women being women, and men trying to hold a chair for a lady to sit down at a dining table or open a door, etc., but yet having the leadership qualities to help their family. This whole thing is just being blown apart. Can we ever put this thing back together, and how?
Well, that's a question that I wish I could answer. First of all, as for whether we will put it back together again, I'm not a fortune teller, and I can't answer that. As to how we go about doing it, I can suggest various things, but they're quite remote possibilities at this particular moment. We have people ranting in Washington about what happened, what might or might not have happened 35 years ago to a bunch of drunken teenagers, but we don't have a real dialogue going on between men and women, which is based on mutual respect. That we don't have yet. But if there is a possibility of, I don't know, perpetuating this civilization, then it's surely got to begin with some kind of dialogue.
I certainly hope and pray that can happen, because the days of when I was a young man and my dad saying, you will do this, you will do that, of opening doors and being polite, yes ma'am, no sir, those days are gone, I feel, and they need to come back, regardless of whether you're in Canada or the United States. Politeness and respect has got to come back into our society.
Yes. That's easy to agree with. The question is how, because, for one thing, if you say that to many people, they will say politeness and courtesy. Whose politeness? Whose courtesy? Because they see the world in terms of us and them. And so they would then say, well, courtesy, from your point of view, is oppression from my point of view. So it's hard to, the discussion is so confined by political ideology that reason really has no place.
Wow.
You can't use a reasonable argument because very often they argue that reason itself is a patriarchal male social construct, and therefore of no value.
I'm starting to get the picture that if the Kirsten Gillibrands and the Senator Hironas from Hawaii and others have their way, it'll resemble like an old grade B movie about the Amazonian women taking over and men just basically they're slaves to do the work, and that's it. I mean, what kind of a society is it where we can't have mutual respect for the genders? That just absolutely blows my mind.
Well, yes, it does. We're really, and this is a turning point, I must say. We're not just talking about the run-of-the-mill, battles between men and women for this or that law. We're talking about two colliding and clashing worldviews.
Is it
basically talking about a revolution, a social revolution in the making.
Right. What, when you say that, though, sir, when you mention the word revolution, everybody always throws their hands up in the air and starts screaming. But what do you mean by a social revolution? How do we put this thing back in perspective? I mean, I'm willing to try anything on this program, and with the help of people like you, I sure would learn a lot more as to how to do this. But how do we regain the respect for both the genders, and of which there are only two, and how do we go about talking to each other so that we can start that respect program?
Well, you know, the mechanisms of our political and social system have provided ways of doing that. Unfortunately, those ways are being undermined. I mean, the basic assumption of the presumption of innocence has a long history. It's been honored for centuries, and it took hard work to get to that point. But now it's being swept away in a kind of emotional tidal wave. When I hear talk about, you know, the necessity to believe women simply because they are women, you know, belief is a word that I associate with religion, and my field is religious studies. But we have countries that have a separation of church and state. Belief is not a legitimate way of pursuing a political goal. It's not to say that people can ever have no beliefs, but belief itself is not enough to prosecute a case in court, for example. It's not enough to claim beliefs and that your beliefs trump reason. But, you know, we're seeing now how fragile the structures are that we have taken centuries to build. They can be swept away in a moment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Dr. Nathanson, before I let you go, quickly tell my audience, if you would, about your books, your writings. I find you to be a very interesting man, and I want to make sure that I give you time to talk a little bit about your books before I have to close our segment.
Well, my colleague and I, Catherine Young and I, have written 4 books on misandry. The first one was Spreading Misandry, which was originally the introductory chapter to a single volume, but we had so much material that it became a separate volume. Then we have Legalizing Misandry, which talks about the ways in which ideological feminists have used the legal system for reforms that suit themselves. Then we have another book called Sanctifying Misandry, which is about the ways in which, I guess, generally speaking, I'd say liberal religious organizations and churches have taken up ideological motifs to the point of trying to resurrect, as it were, a goddess, to have goddess worship.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a book called, oh God, I can't even remember the name now. I think it's called, I can't remember the name, but it's about the ways in which perceptions of men have changed over the past 12 or 13,000 years since the agricultural revolution.
Right.
So perceptions of the male body and of masculinity and the notion that men can contribute something necessary and distinctive to the larger society, that has a long history, which is now being undermined by people who argue that there's no such thing as any difference between men and women, that women can do everything men can do, and there's at least one thing that women can do that men cannot do. And therefore, the result is that men have no ability to establish a healthy collective identity. Because to do that, you have to be able to make some contribution that is distinctive and necessary.
Well,
so, those are the 4 books that we have so far. We're writing another one on the possibility of intersexual dialogue. That would be called Transcending Misandry and Misogyny. They're all on Amazon, and so just look them up.
Now, I tell you what, anytime I can get you on this program, I'll look forward to it. Dr. Paul Nathanson, God bless you, sir. Thank you for your time and all of your expertise. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You bet. Very interesting gentleman. And, boy, if you don't think there is a demise of men right now, a contempt of men, just listen to some of those people like Gillibrand and Hirano. You'll know I'm telling the truth. Let's see what else have I got to do here real quick. I had some other note. Oh, our friends at Syringa Plaza. My goodness sakes, yes. I urge you to give them a call. Syringa Plaza, a lovely and affordable senior community right there in Burley. Absolutely. It's near shopping opportunities and readily accessible public transportation. Serves low-income seniors who want to maintain an independent living status. All of this at Syringa Plaza. Where are they located? 626 Elba Avenue in Burley. And I urge you right now to write this number down and find out more. Give them a call. You can't find out unless you give them a call and talk to them. 677-4204. That number again, 208-677-4204. Syringa Plaza, absolutely a very nice and affordable senior community in Burley, Idaho. Right now, we're going to send it back over to Wheels. We'll be back in about 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Thank you very much, and welcome back to our last half hour. And right now, I am very honored to have this next gentleman on our program. He's the author of the book called Lifting the Veil: The True Faces of Muhammad and Islam. And I hope up front, sir, I say your name correctly, IQ Al-Rasuli. Good morning, sir.
I've honestly had not had him call in yet, sir.
Oh, he hasn't yet called, huh?
No, I haven't had the phone ring yet.
Okay, well, hopefully, and really, let me explain while Wheels is on the air with us. We are waiting for this call from Mr. Al-Rasuli, and the reason we left it up to him to call is because he has to remain incognito. They are very concerned about his health and welfare, and therefore, he is calling in, and Deanne, we haven't heard. He's written this book, Under the Threat of Death, and quite frankly, we're just waiting and hoping and praying. We earlier this morning got a hold of his the people that booked him for our program, and they said he would be calling in. So, Wheels, the minute that phone rings, let me know, would you please?
Yes, sir.
All right. In the interim, as happens on live radio and live talk shows, we ask for people to call in and voice their opinions about anything. And I'd open the door right now, the floodgates, if you will, for you to give us a call and talk about any of the subjects that we've talked about so far this morning, or anything that you have a complaint or gripe about or would like to have acknowledged on this program, as we wait, hopefully, to get that person on our show. So please, the number to call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, one of the things that are rules as far as I'm concerned, and when I started this talk show years and years ago, somebody would say, well, we'll just call into your station. No, we will call you. But now let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Bell. This is Shelley Holy calling, and I'd like to express a comment about the Kavanaugh situation.
All right. Now, keep in mind, Shelley, before you start, that I may have to interrupt you and go to the call, but go ahead, please.
I understand. I'll try to be quick. I believe Judge Kavanaugh is innocent, and yet, and I've never met either one, Dr. Ford or Kavanaugh, at all. I don't have TV. It's packed in storage, but from listening to radio and listening to the testimonies, Dr. Ford may have been attacked by somebody, but I think she's throwing her rocks the wrong direction because Kavanaugh seems like that easy target since he's in the limelight. I believe, now, if Kavanaugh is found guilty at all at any frame of mind, I think we as a nation should forgive him and let him still be confirmed as our next Supreme Court justice, because I know he'd be a powerful weapon in that seat, and his lifestyle ever since his younger days, whatever he did in his younger days, we need to forgive him and let him rule in that seat. And I know that God is allowing all this stuff to keep him humble in that exaltation of that seat. And I think we should forgive Kavanaugh if he is found guilty and still get him confirmed as soon as possible. No more false witnesses or anything that the garbage is the Democrats are trying to throw at him.
I appreciate.
That's what I think. We need to forgive him, let him be confirmed still.
I appreciate your call on this in a different perspective. Thank you very much for your call. I'm going to talk about that for a few minutes. Thank you very much. You know, the adage of let ye who are without sin throw the first stone. Who of us, any of us, all of us, hasn't got something in their background, their history, their closet, skeletons, etc., that is capable of saying, I'm perfect and I'm going to go after Judge Kavanaugh or any other person? None of us. None of us. And the sanctimonious Democrats that sat up there at that hearing the other day, like I said, Kamala Harris and, of course, Cory Booker and Durbin and, of course, Feinstein. It was so absolute holier than thou. They absolutely sat there like vultures waiting to pounce upon the carcass. And then when Kavanaugh fought back, and by heavens, I would have probably been triple and quadruple in anger as to what he showed. They have tried to go out and wreck his life, wreck everything about his past accomplishments, wreck everything about his family, wreck everything about his job and the great job that he's done. They just took his resume and held a candle underneath it and burned it up. And the sanctimonious attitude by the Democrats, maybe there needs to be some more forgiveness. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, I have been thinking the same thing, that, you know, I don't believe that he has done what they are accusing him of, but shouldn't his current lifestyle, his current record speak more for him than what he did in the past?
I mean, you would be...
All Jesus said to the woman taken in adultery, you know, after he said, well, where are all the people that accused you? And she said, there are none here. And he said, then neither do I accuse you. You know, I go and sin no more.
Yeah. You know...
And whether he did or whether he didn't, let's look at that current record that this man has, and look at the way he's handling himself now. And I haven't had a chance to call you and say that up to now, but I'm so glad the other lady did, because I agree with it. But is there anything we can do to help him along?